Hello, this is Ron Ryan. This deep dive presentation covers the telephone sales process. In this presentation, we focus on rapidly growing organizations, both for-profit and not-for-profit, which are in the process of developing or improving their telesales function. Set out below is a model of the 4 most common touch points in any organization. They include the online sales process, the call center, fulfillment, and repeat purchase. Whether you have a large, well-developed call center or just take a few orders on the phone, here are some places where you may be losing customers. Companies present a confusing and/or inconsistent value proposition from their CSRs. They experience inadequate scripting, training, and monitoring of those CSRs. The CSRs have to work with poor sales systems and have inadequate support. The CSR's compensation is not aligned with the company's profit model. That disconnect often can cost the company money. Quite often, customers receive inadequate information about the after-sales process. And finally, there's little or no systematic follow-up to non-buyers. Starting with the value proposition, do the people who answer your sales line describe your products in a consistent and effective way? For smaller companies, the answer is probably no, at least on the consistent part. And for larger companies, the answer is almost always yes, but could be better. If the answer is, I'm not sure, I never checked, then you have some work to do. Inadequate scripting, training, and monitoring. Here's a test. Listen to the beginning of 6 calls with 6 different CSRs. Compare the openings at each call. Making sure there is a consistent statement of your company's value proposition and a clear question set built into your CSR's opening with customers can have a dramatic impact on conversion. To see how your CSRs are telling your company's story to your customers, you're going to need to develop a process for recording or at least listening to customer calls. This involves consumer disclosure and an investment in technology. Using a group which is responsible for voice of customer concerns, preferably reporting to senior management, can assure that you're getting the truth about what your customers are hearing. To be most effective, those monitoring your calls should be independent and not report to your telesales management team. In fact, your company can benefit greatly from having the entire senior management team listen to just a few customer calls each week. Be prepared for some surprises, though. You will uncover things which won't make you happy. If you're like most companies, after that experiment, you're going to want to standardize your scripts. To drive this change, you're going to want to invest in a system that records and stores your calls. Indeed, developing a routine monitoring and feedback process will allow you to make regular improvements all along the way. Your best CSRs, for example, are going to teach you some best practices. Be sure to document these. And you'll want to develop training around what your best CSRs are doing well, sharing it with the rest of your workforce. Cataloging the techniques, tips, and tricks of the best performers will drive better results in the rest of your team. It's a virtuous circle. Poor sales systems and support. as you develop a better understanding of your CSR's workflows, you're going to see big opportunities to drive down cost and increase your CSR's productivity. For example, you're going to be in a position to measure how long it takes the average CSR to generate a quote. You're going to identify paper processes which slow things down for each of the CSRs. If you're like most companies, you're also going to discover that your quote system handcuffs your CSRs, making it difficult to jump around the conversation along with the customer. You may discover that most of your sales force doesn't use the military alphabet, leaving lots of conversations open to confusion. Here's why the systems conversation is important. W. Edwards Deming, the American statistician who drove the quality movement in Japan, argued that quality problems are in the process, not the person. For much of his career, indeed, he opined that 85% of problems are built into the way the work is engineered, and only 15% of the problems are really the fault of the individual employee. CSR compensation not aligned with your company's profit model. CSRs, it turns out, have a really bad habit of doing exactly what you pay them to do. For example, if you reward your CSRs for selling to a customer on whom you're going to lose money, then you can only expect them to work very hard at losing you money. Think hard before you reward your CSRs only on conversion. Try to focus your compensation package on multiple sources of profitability. For example, customer longevity, inadequate information about the after-sales process. When we segment clients' CSRs in terms of customer satisfaction and customer longevity, then listen to their calls, what jumps out is that best performing CSRs almost always spend just a little bit longer on the phone with their customers. These best performing CSRs are reviewing the terms of sale and what will happen after the call is over. Key items on these CSR's checklist include delivery timing, post-transaction paperwork, and the returns process. No systematic follow-up to non-buyers. The successful CSRs we've studied always schedule a follow-up call to buyers who indicate an interest but fail to buy on the first call. The numbers here are compelling. Assuming a contact rate of 30% and a closing rate of 30%, on average, a CSR can add as much as 7.2% to their sales with just a little extra effort. To summarize then, fixing the leaks in the telesales process is about measuring, listening, and putting oneself in the caller's shoes. Being sure to make apples-to-apples comparisons between your CSRs, you're going to want to segment them in terms of conversion, retention, acquisition cost, and renewal or repeat sales cost. Once you've completed this segmentation, listen to your CSRs again. Pay special attention to those creating the most value for your company. Use your best performers to adjust scripting, identify any problems with your compensation plan, and your follow-up procedures. This concludes our deep dive presentation on how to improve telesales in your organization. We know that we've just scratched the surface of opportunities to improve profitability in your telesales center. Be sure to check out some of our other presentations on how to improve your online sales process, customer service and fulfillment, and how to drive more repeat purchases or memberships in your company or not-for-profit.